see yet in the room. Yes, please, if you could give the mic to the gentleman over there. It's coming.
Make sure this is yes.
Thank you to everybody. Those were very, very good presentations. David, I have a question for you. I'd be very interested if you could explain the similarities or differences of what you do with eDNA, which is increasing, something I'm paying attention to, so I'd love to hear your relationship to that. And Thomas, I'd like to hear about your business model in a sense. How do you work with engineering firms to actually go do the work? And or are you the engineering firm that goes and does the work? I'd be very interested to understand how you connect with people to do large-scale projects in other countries, for example. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. That's a very good question that is often asked. With eDNA, you probe the environment, most often in the water, and you get information about the composition of the ecosystem in terms of presence or absence of species. So you get to know like what kind of fish are in this river or in this lake. Or it's not restricted to fish, obviously. But what we do is not assessing general biodiversity in terms of composition of the ecosystem. It's really looking into each species. So we need to catch individuals. And with that, with the analysis of the DNA of each individual, we can assess level of genetic diversity within a species, within a population, and we can assess how individuals are related and how to cross this individual together if you carry reproduction. So it's very different, but it's complementary, and I think there are synergies that can in between these two technologies for the future. Is that clear? Okay, good.
So now, how Ecoboost works. So we are a small company. We don't have offices in other countries or so on. So we rely on partnerships. We establish partnerships with two types of, I would say, companies. We've got the consultants first, because they're the one who are able to collect the data. They're the one who have usually local offices with people with the knowledge of the local situation, and they're able to collect, access the data that we need. We are a small company that is specialized in basically process engineering of nature-based solutions and other water treatment solutions. So this is what we sell. We do not construct. We partner with companies that build the systems. We drive them, we show them how to build properly. We work alongside their construction team to make sure that everything is done properly, from selection of the equipment to the implementation of the system on the ground. Our business model is the knowledge that we have from 25 years of experience of 2,000 systems in different countries, climates, different type of effluents, different conditions. So we are experts in designing these solutions. But to design a solution, we need partners to basically frame the context, and we need partners, on the other hand, to implement what we design. So usually the company comes and say, hey, I have a problem here. I would like a nature-based solution. I think nature-based solution is appropriate. Can it be done? Yes or no? And what kind of solution? What kind of design is possible? And then we make recommendations. Sometimes it's with nature-based solutions. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's a combination of different types of solutions. And then we help them deploy, basically implement the systems. So does it answer your question? Okay, thanks.
Yes, please, there are more questions in the room. We are about 40 people in the room for those who are online.
It's for Michael. In your project, are you considering all the species of bee Because, for example, in Switzerland, we have one species who produce meal. It's 40% of pollination. But we have 39 species who represent 60%. And a lot of them, they are flying around 300 meters where they are. And it's very important.
Yeah, very good question. So the first point is, even when we work with the domestic bees, the data we get, of course, in terms of pollutants, but in terms of plants, enables us to design a project that focuses also on solitary or wild bees. So the actions will, of course, enhance the biodiversity for the solitary bees as well, because we will see exactly at what moment of the year there's a lack of biodiversity in terms of nutritional quality, in terms of amount of species, and so on. And the second point is that we also developed a tool to collect the pollen via solitary bees. So that's much more focused on the solitary bee ecosystem, but it responds exactly to the need you're talking about and focusing on these kind of bees as well.
Thank you. I think there was another question, please. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much to all for this very interesting presentation. It's also a question to Michael about actually the data sets you're using. How dynamic are they? Are you looking at monthly, yearly types of data sets coming into your system? And second question, could you combine it with other types of data sets from partners who can then bring maybe more deeper understanding of those ecosystems? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So I would say in 80% of the cases, we collect the pollen during a month and a half and analyze all the pollen collecting during this month and a half. So we will have results during the bee season, and of course, between April and October on this period of 1 month and a half. But in certain cases, we have clients that need a more specific period of time. And so we will limit, of course, the time and have a more specific analysis for 15 days or something like that. For the second question, of course, we would love to have more data and share the data and put all the data together. And that's the whole objective also of this artificial intelligence platform with Microsoft, is to do data sharing to really improve the assessment and have more impact.
Thank you. Are there more questions in the room, online? Maybe for the last 2 minutes, I may ask the pitchers to say in 2 words, as you are relatively close to the generation of the Friday for Futures, how do you, in 2 words, say what your solution contribute to our main 2 challenges? And we will come back to that question later during the day. The decline of biodiversity and the climate change challenge. And linked to that, of course, the nexus through the water. Please, who starts? Shall we start at this side? Yeah.
Yeah. I think with our solution, we can contribute to address the decline in biodiversity. Well, not generally, but at least at the fish level. Regarding climate change, we cannot do anything with that, but at least with promoting genetic diversity within the species that are important for us, either socially, economically, or that have an importance in the ecosystem, we can enhance the ability of species to cope with coming changes, because as I said in my presentation, really the potential of adaptation of species really lies in a strong genetic diversity at the population level. So I think in that way we are addressing a bit the issue of this decline in biodiversity.
Great, thanks. Would you continue, Tony?
Oui, volontiers. De notre côté, on voit que l'aménagement moderne des cours d'eau, qui intègre non seulement l'objectif sécuritaire, l'hydraulique pure, mais aussi les objectifs nature, environnement, socio-économique, ça permet de rétablir une biodiversité et d'avoir la robustesse pour assumer les nouveaux débits. Les débits qu'on connaît depuis quelques décennies maintenant qui sont plus importants, des crues de plus en plus fortes, et de pouvoir comme ça avoir une réserve de sécurité pour le futur, dans un espace qui est plus naturel et qui contribue à la biodiversité. Donc c'est un espace tout en un, c'est du 3 en 1, sécurité, environnement et socio-économie, dans le même mètre carré, dans le même lit du cours d'eau.
Merci. Thomas, please.
Well, our solutions basically can bring nature back to the cities because they're a highland of nature. So that usually helps quite a lot, and they are also very good at adapting to droughts or floods and so on. So they're really resilient, and I think they're really made for the future.
Merci. And Marc?
So yes, our solution is really when you want to renaturate a shore, or create something around the lake, then you will be able to be sure that the biodiversity will stay here, so that the work you are doing won't be destroyed by the next storm, and thus that's our main piece we are bringing to the puzzle. On the other side, regarding climate change, modeling lake won't help a lot, but we also are able to model discharge in rivers, and so also future discharge, and so it won't fight it, but it will help trying to know what to expect from discharge in the next couple of years or next years.
Thank you. Does Michael want to add a statement online?
Yeah, I think if you can't measure, you can't act. And if you don't have data, you cannot involve local stakeholders. And that's really how we respond to the issue. Collecting this data, sharing this data to all stakeholders, enable them to act on biodiversity, but also for climate change on pollution. And so everything is strongly linked. So we believe that with data and sharing this data, we can have a great change effect.
Thank you very much to everybody. Thank for your contribution. I think that was a good start for a day which will be rich in different presentations. I'm handing happily over to the next session, and thank again everybody for their involvement.